Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask Running Writings. The topic for today is time off after the end of a season. The question for today comes from a guy named Peter, and Peter asks, at the end of every season, my coach has us take 10 to 14 days off of running completely. My question is, could this be more detrimental to our fitness than benefiting our bodies by resting? How much aerobic fitness or aerobic strength or fitness does someone who's used to running 40 to 55 miles a week lose after 10 days off? Would it be better to take 2 to 4 days off and then short jogs and then runs? So basically, you finish your season. Maybe it's your conference meet or your section meet or your state meet, NCAA's, whatever. And then the question is, what do you do next before you transition into training for your next season, whether that's cross country or track or whatever. This idea of a 10 to 14 day break is pretty common. I've heard it from a lot of different sources, and I don't really know where it comes from. Might possibly be like a physiology kind of thing. The idea that you put a big stress on your body and then need to take some time to recover. But there are a couple different rationales for why you might want to do this, and these do have some merit. First, taking a big break, 10 to 14 days, will allow you to recover from any latent injuries that might be lingering underneath the surface, or that you've maybe been running on a sore ankle or something that you didn't tell your coach about. Don't do that, by the way. It also gives you a physical break from the high-intensity workouts and races that you were doing at the end of the season before you transition into real serious training for your next season. It gives you your body some time to recover from that high-intensity running and high-intensity racing. It also gives you a mental break from the stresses of training and of racing, especially at the end of the season. You know, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of like nervous energy building up to whatever your final race is, and however that goes, good or bad, it's a lot of like mental emotions flying around, and it can be nice to have a break to transition out from one season and into the next. Also, it's actually easy to start up too quick with training if you don't take a break at all. So at the end of your season, you're usually in pretty good shape, especially if you've tapered a lot, like if you drop down your mileage a ton. You're still going to be in pretty good shape, but your legs and your body won't be used to running very much. So if you go straight from running 25, 30 miles a week with lots of high-intensity workouts and races into trying to run 8 or 9 or 10 miles a day, you can run into some problems where your heart and lungs are in better shape or are ready for more running than your legs are. Now, you do lose some fitness by taking time off, and luckily, Peter's question I don't have to make a guess to. I can actually just look this up. Here is a chart from Daniel's running formula where, based on like scientific studies, where you take a big group of runners and have them all stop running and then see how much fitness they lose after certain amounts of time. So you can go down here, it's like 10 to 14 days, and this first column here gives us a percentile, like a percentage multiplier for our fitness if we did nothing, and this column on the right here is if you do cross training. So by the way, if you take lots of time off, if you have like a stress fracture or something, you can see cross training does make a really big difference, so you should be doing that. But more relevant to the question at hand, 10 to 14 days of completely no running. We can use this multiplier here, and basically this means if you were like a 4:30 miler, after your break you'd be more in like 4:37 shape. If you are a 9:37 2-miler, about 9:53 shape after your break. So you do lose some fitness, and that's to be expected. But something to keep in mind is that these changes, that drop in fitness, that doesn't go away completely forever. You'll be able to regain that fitness much more rapidly the next time you come around. But there are some possible risks for taking time off, or some reasons why you might not want to always take 10 or 14 days completely off at the end of every season. It can be more difficult to start back up with training, especially if you are a high mileage runner and you're coming off of the end of a season where you weren't running very much, because all of those mechanisms that allow your body to gradually adapt to more and more volume over time also work in reverse. So when you take 2 weeks completely off from running, your body's kind of getting used to not running, and can become difficult to start up with high levels right away, which I don't really recommend anyways. But you can also actually get more predisposed to injuries for some of the same reasons. Your muscles and get a little weaker, and maybe you're not doing the kind of strength rehab type stuff that you should be doing when you are training. When you take a bunch of time off, usually people don't do that. they don't continue to do their rehab exercises because they're not running. So when you start up, you've lost maybe some of that hip strength or some of that calf flexibility that normally keeps you healthy. Also, if you're newer to running or younger, or if you're just not really big on like motivation, it can be pretty easy to get comfortable with not running. If you take 2 weeks completely off from running, you kind of get used to not running, and then it can be more difficult to motivate yourself to get out the door again. That's a pretty common problem for like high schoolers. Over the summer, a lot of coaches know that once your runners start taking time off, it can be hard to get them out the door again. Finally, and most importantly, in my opinion, you are forced to ramp up your mileage more quickly, or you're forced to constrain how high your mileage gets during that summer or the winter after you've started building up again, because taking 2 weeks off, especially for like high school and college runners, it shrinks the duration of your base phase, basically. So as an example, here in Minnesota, our state track meet is in early June, and the cross-country season starts in like early to mid-August. So that's pretty much like 2 months from 2 months or maybe 8-9 weeks from the state meet to the beginning of the cross-country season. If you take 2 full weeks off from running, you're shortening that period by a significant amount. And so whereas maybe earlier, if you wanted to build up to 70 miles a week the summer before your senior year, for example, you could start at a lower mileage and then build up more gradually if you had the full duration. If you take a bunch of time off at the beginning, you need to either start at a higher level or build up more aggressively, or end at a lower level of mileage. And none of those are ideal. This was a problem for me in college because we didn't have very much time between the end of outdoor track and the beginning of cross country, and we had even less time between the beginning or the end of cross country and the beginning of indoor track. And I think it's very important for runners to have large blocks of time where they're able to get a lot of easy to moderate mileage in, high-end aerobic work, and not really worry about racing and race-specific workouts. So those are some of the drawbacks. The alternative, as our beginning question suggested, is just taking a few days off. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 days off from running, and then starting up with just easy runs. I only recommend this if you are healthy and you're fresh, both physically and mentally. If you have a little nagging injury or something, you should definitely take care of that instead of trying to fool yourself into thinking you're ready to start up training right away. I do think you might ask, like, oh, well, can I just like not take any time off? And I do suggest you take at least 1 or 2 days off, just so you have a mental break to transition from one season into the next. It's really important to be able to, whether the end of your previous season went well or went poorly, it's important to be able to learn the lessons and then move on, transition into your next season, start with a new clean slate. Also, at least taking 1 day off does discourage sort of becoming obsessed about a running streak. I know a lot of people they're really proud of, like, oh, I've run every day for 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever, and that's great, but it can lead to this problem where when a situation comes up where you really do need to take a day off, like you have an injury that starts acting up or you're starting getting sick, you can have this, like, economists call it a sunken cost fallacy, where you think, oh, well, I've run every day for a year, like, I can't take time off now, when really the best thing to do would really be to take a day off. So taking at least 1 day off or a few days off does help discourage that kind of obsessive thinking about your running, which is a good thing. And again, when you start up, you want to start with just easy running, and maybe not even timing your runs, just going out for a run, trying to enjoy it as much as you can. And one thing you can think about is you can take time off from training without taking time off from running. So you might be able to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to take 2 weeks off from training. I'm not training. I'm just going to go out and run. I'm just going to run easy, run short. I'm going to enjoy my runs. I'm not going to do any workouts. I'm not going to do any really hard stuff. I'm not going to do any really like difficult strength routines or whatever. I would add, though, that you should, if you have like rehab exercises you should be doing, like hip strength or calf stretches or whatever, stuff that you need to do to keep you healthy, you should be doing that even if you're not running at all, and even if you are just taking time off from training without taking time off from running. So in summary, if you are feeling fresh, if you're physically healthy, you're not injured, you're feeling good, you don't need a mental break from running after the end of a long season. If you're not burned out, go ahead and just take a few days off. and then start up with some easy running afterwards. If you do have a little bit of a nagging injury, or maybe something you're running on at the end of the season, or you're really burned out because you've had a long season, maybe you qualified for Nike Nationals or something, and you've been racing since August and it's December, you don't really have to worry about losing too much fitness. Sure, you'll lose maybe 7, 8, 9 seconds over a mile, but that loss of fitness can be easily made up much more quickly the next time around. So 2 weeks off is really not that much in the grand scheme of things. And if you need that, you should definitely take it. So again, like if you're healthy, go ahead, only take a few days off. Do take 1 or 2 just so you can start mentally, physically fresh and have a clean slate going forwards. So thanks, Peter, for the question. If you have a question that you want answered, go ahead and contact me on my website. You can check me out at runningwritings.com, youtube.com/runningwritings, or follow me on Twitter at jdruns. If you have something you want to hear about, you can leave a comment below, click on the Contact Me page on my website, or send me an email at john@runningwritings.com. So thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.